All I have in this life is this hand mold and a dream. And honestly, the mold's not looking that great. Hey everybody, my name's Abigail. Welcome back to my channel. If you watched my last video, you might know that we are doing a Halloween horror movie recap for every video, while I also craft something spooky. Last time I saw you, I started making this hand mold. What I'm trying to do is make the hand from Talk to Me that I can display in my home. To be honest, it's not going the most swimmingly, but we live and we learn. So last time you saw me, I had actually put my hand into this mold and done like a sort of cast of what my hand looked like, and I did it like this, like the hand in Talk to Me. Then I made what may have been a fatal error. I left this for a few days and walked away to go about my life. As I just opened it, it was filled with water, brimming, just Titanic level bad. But I just rinsed it out, stuck my hand in there, and it seems to have sort of maintained its general shape, so we might be in the clear. I'm not feeling super confident because I think the shape and sort of position my hand was in does not exemplify what I want to create with this hand cast. I think I needed a bigger one to kind of go up my arm a little bit, but don't worry, I have a backup plan. Early on in this process, I realized we may be rapidly approaching a big fat failure. And you know what? That's okay. So I decided if this hand cast fails, what we're gonna do is break off the fingers and kind of paint them to look like little severed digits and things and put them around the house for fun little gags and maybe like party decorations. Anyways, you're back this time to actually do step 2 with me, which is pour the cast into the mold and actually make the hand. As I'm sure you immediately could tell, I'm looking a little scrappy here. What I'm planning on doing is pouring the actual plaster in and then going to the gym because I think it has to set for like 2 or 3 hours. So that way, next time I see you, when I come back, it should be, hopefully, in my perfect world, fully set. Will that happen? Hard to say, but we're gonna give it a go. So we're gonna take a look. Let's see what we have to do. Wash your hands carefully again. Make sure all the remaining material from last step is washed off. Oh, okay, I see. So you were supposed to do this all in one sitting. That's not a shocker really, but you know, I'm a procrastinator. Then put the provided gloves on. Pour the casting stone, step 2 packet into a mixing bowl with water. Start your 60 seconds timer, then smooth the mixture with your hands, removing lumps between your fingers until the mixture begins to become thicker slightly. Keep on mixing until the 60 seconds is up. Try not to be vigorous so as not to introduce any air bubbles. Once blended, begin to pour immediately. Okay, what I love about this step is that it's not asking me to use a hand mixer. So my slight concern is that I cheaped out and got the really affordable, low-cost version of this. And so the instructions are kind of bad. And it doesn't tell me at all how much water I need to put in this step. We're just gonna be throwing this at the wall and seeing what sticks. Okay, so what I've come up with is a bowl and basically just a large glass of water. So I think I'm just gonna sort of pour some water in and mix this with my hands and see what we can come up with. I will say I think I won't need as much of the powder because I didn't use 2 hands, I just used my one hand, and this is meant to be like this basically. So I think I'll have extra stone powder, which is what it's called, I think. Oh, it totally does tell me how much water to use. Are we just gonna go for it? 550 milliliters. Is that the same as before? Alexa, how many cups is 550 milliliters? 2.32 cups? Oh, work. I think that's about 2.32 cups. A little more maybe. We'll rock on. No, Alexa, I don't need anything. It's like a horror movie in here. Anyways, while we're doing this, let's talk about the horror movies I watched this week. So starting off really strong, I said I wanted to watch more international horror this year, and I started off with Audition. Very cool Japanese film. It's been on my list for a long time, so I was really glad I finally got to this. Basically, in Audition, we follow this guy who's in his sort of middle-aged years, and he is a widower. This feels very appropriate to be talking about this movie and putting on gloves like this right now. More fart sounds? I thought that was gonna be last week only. Basically, this guy, he has a teenage son, and it's just him and his son living together. It's kind of not sad, like they figured out their routine, but at the same time, there's just like a little bit of loneliness to their lives. Anyways, his son encourages him to find a new wife, date a little bit more, and the guy's like, Well, how am I gonna find a young, desirable woman when I'm in my middle ages? Great question. Maybe you shouldn't be looking for that age demo. But I digress. Turns out he works at a kind of like a film company. They seem to cast a lot of projects. So his coworker suggests to him, hey, what if we hold a casting call for young women and we know exactly what we're looking for that's your type, and you can just choose a girl from that audition. A little horrifying, little Harvey Weinstein-esque, really uncomfortable. All right, we're going for the water. It's like fizzing? Is this gonna be a volcano? Oh my God. They hold the audition and they see so many girls. It's actually a very funny audition sequence. And you don't need to know that this is like a very stressful experiment I'm doing here. I was just talking to my friends today about how we would rent flubber at the Blockbuster when we were kids all the time. I don't know why, it just was our move. It's making me think of that. Anyways, they see all these girls and eventually he sees this one girl named Asami. This man becomes obsessed with Asami. She has some sort of charm or something to her that he just is enraptured with. I think really he's probably more obsessed with the idea of her than her herself, as we so often see. But alas, I think it's time to pour. I should have brought paper towels. Oh man, I'm making a mess. I may have to yell for help. Pour, pour, pour. It says pour like a third of it in. And then swish it around so you get all the crevices. What a great word, crevice. All right, that feels about there. And then I'm gonna fill it all the way up to the top. Ew. All right, we gotta tap it so the bubbles rise to the surface. I mean, I don't really see bubbles rise to the top, so I think we're good. All right, I have to dispose of this in the trash. It's all over me. Once again, this looks foul, but looks decent there. Anyways, to finish talking about Audition, basically this guy becomes obsessed with Asami, right? She's like the perfect woman for him, even though she's like in her early 20s, maybe even her late teens. And he, so to speak, falls in love with her. She engages with him in a way where she really enjoys the attention. She feels like she can confide in him in a way that she hasn't really had with anyone before. And she really loves this relationship they have. Obviously based on what I saw in the movie, dating and marriage expectations and tradition is very different in Japan. It's just not like the same as American culture. So it was very fast that they sort of fell in love and like seemed to be ready to get married. She loves him. She has expressed a desire to give herself over to him in pretty much every way. But it all devolves when we find out that Asami might not be who she claims to be. And maybe our friend even has to pay for what he's done to the women in his life. I gotta say it, I loved Audition. It actually does not seem like a horror movie for like 75% of the movie, I would say. It's really more of a drama, kind of addressing what is it like for a person to be lonely in middle age and have to raise a family on their own, until it's suddenly not. Look, all I'll say is I support women's rights and women's wrongs, and that applies heavily to Asami. She's a queen. I love everything about her. You gotta watch Audition if you're into psychological thrillers and a little bit of body horror torture. It's insane and it devolves into this interesting mystery for a while too. Super fascinating. Would heavily recommend Audition if you haven't seen it. This stuff starts setting immediately, so I better get this off the floor now. Adding this up. That's firming up quite nicely, it looks like. I'm actually surprised at how quickly it started to set. Yeah, that's like hardening really, really quickly. It definitely needs like a few hours to sit. So I'm gonna still go to the gym and let it do its thing, and I'll be back to look at it later. But before I go, I do want to say my second watch of the week, slightly less influential but still very fun and more family friendly, I would say. I watched The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. To be honest, I didn't watch the Mr. Toad half. It's like a split in two movie, kind of like two different cartoons. But I have a very fun plan to visit Sleepy Hollow this weekend. I've never been, so I had to kind of take a moment to look at Sleepy Hollow and see what's going on, because I don't know this story. I never read it in school or anything. I also bought a very cool illustrated copy of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which I'm excited to read. Honestly, I think the whole thing was so cozy and cute that it made me real sleepy. And so I don't remember like a lot of specifics, but it has a great era. I think this is Disney in the 40s. This is older Disney. So it's very cute. It has that visual aesthetic of like Cinderella, Snow White. So it's a super cute, cozy Halloween watch. Kind of like, I would say it's a little scarier than cartoons, but this is a great double feature if you have like some kids that you want to watch with. Maybe a double feature with The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Super cute, great animation, kind of bizarre. It's kind of surprising what they used to put on TV for kids. I always forget a lot more was gotten away with in terms of like sexuality and the way things were talked about back in the day. But it was super cute, fun watch. It's a nice one to sort of fall asleep to, not because it's boring, but it's just so, it feels like a little hug. To be honest, I don't think I've heard the word coquette used much outside of Sabrina Carpenter lately, but there's a whole character that they call, okay, well, I guess she never talks, but they call her like the town coquette. It's crazy, but again, it's really cute. All right, I'm gonna go to the gym now and try and get into shape like Alicia Vikander did for Tomb Raider, and I'll be back in a few hours and we'll take a look at how this went. I'm really hoping it's kind of cool. Even if it doesn't look exactly like the hand and talk to me, I'll be fine as long as I can like paint it and jazz it up and make it kind of look like in the movie. I will be totally chill with that. But anyways, I got one more movie and we'll take a look at the hand after this quick word from our sponsors.
Hours later.
I'm back. It's been a few hours. I hit the gym. I showered, so slightly less scuzzy now. And we've got a hardened cast. I think it's kind of the moment of truth. I think we gotta break this bad boy open and see how this turned out. This is a really fateful moment. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but what I'm doing here is I'm managing expectations, okay? I'm not trusting or believing that it's going to work out well. If it does, that's an added bonus. If not, I'll make little severed fingers. Also, are you enjoying looking at my hat and shoes? Really fancy background. This portion of the process is called the reveal. Very dramatic. I unfortunately am going to have to dump this thing out of the bucket. So in the effort to not make a crazy mess, I'm just like gonna put some paper towels down. It feels okay. Super protective, I don't know, but might do the trick. It says to use the scraper tool to get around the edges before we turn it upside down and dump the thing out and then we chip away at it. Pretty cool. I feel like a little doctor. Anyways, while we're doing this, the last movie I have to talk about this week is The First Omen. This is actually a prequel to the Omen movie, which was one of my first horror movies I ever saw. I saw it when I was pretty young and it completely traumatized me for months. Every time I went to sleep, I just saw that jackal in the casket. Horrifying. I found it deeply unsettling. So I was pretty excited because I was hearing good things about The First Omen. We're dumping it. It's not moving. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This was actually the third time I tried to watch The First Omen. Twice before I started it and just like wasn't that invested. It could have been the circumstance of the time or the moment or whatever. But I will say, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how it turned out. The lead actress who plays Margaret, I want to say is her name, does a really good job. She gives a very strong performance for what's kind of like a script. There's some really freaky imagery, and though we kind of know what's generally gonna happen since this is a prequel, so we know Damien's coming, it actually has a decent plot. A decent plot for a prequel, especially. This thing's not coming out. I think we're getting movement though. Forgive me for the disgusting sounds that you're about to hear. Ew. To be honest, one of the main draws for me watching The First Omen was Ralph Ineson. I'm a huge fan of his. The Witch is my favorite movie, and I think he's just like the coolest. Not only like so cool as an actor, but he has an all-timer best speaking voice in my opinion. I think he just kills in the horror genre. He does such a good job, and he's such a profoundly good actor. I love British actors because a lot of them have theater training, which I think really gives them sort of a leg up a lot of the time on just movie stars or just film or TV actors. Not to say it's always the case, but I think it often is. I feel like I'm performing surgery. All right, I'm gonna try it again to dump this out, but this is where I'm getting nervous because now this is what we're looking at. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a lot gone. Okay, it didn't work, we're gonna keep chipping away. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did feel that the plot was pretty predictable. but the acting along the way was really pretty good. It made it still an enjoyable experience for me personally. Even if I did feel like, okay, well, I know this is gonna happen, and it was pretty accurate. One thing that I thought was really cool was I saw some comparisons of this scene to this one. I think I saw that in a Letterboxd review. Big time Letterboxd fan here. I was also seeing a lot of love for the director, which I think is really warranted. I think she did what is a really good job with a horror prequel, which are, I don't want to say always, but generally kind of not the most lauded or best response-wise from the horror community. I think she did a really, really decent job with what could have been just like a nothing movie, kind of, to be honest. There were some gnarly moments that made me think a lot of Rosemary's Baby, which I thought was cool because I love that movie, and there's no Roman Polanski involved. At one point, I did turn to my friend who was watching the movie with me and I said, oh my god, if this movie ends by them saying, his name is Damien, and it cuts to black, I'm gonna be so pissed off. And guess what they did? I really hate that I was able to predict that. I wish you guys could tell how incredibly disgusting this is right now. The trick is right now I'm trying to get it out of the mold without, like, it's suctioned to the bottom, and I don't want to use too much force and like break the hand. That's what I'm nervous of. But as I'm looking at this, it might not have been successful anyways, so it might not matter. Oh, I'm seeing details to my actual hand. That's actually really promising. Also, I know you're watching, Mom. Hey, how's it going? Because she texted me asking how the mold went. I said, I don't know yet, Mom. I haven't done the actual cast. Okay, I think if I get around the edges again, we might actually be able to get it out this time. I can't wait to clean this crap up. You may be hearing cracking, which is an alarming thing to hear, but I think it's okay because it's just around the edges of the top where I kind of overfilled the mold, so I'll need to clean it up anyways. Oh, are we making progress here? Oh. I kind of hate that I'm doing this after I showered. Oh. We're okay. Okay, well, the good news is we're out of the bucket now. The bad news is I have gunk all over me. Not wearing these sweatpants to bed anymore. So to give you a peek at what we're looking at now, this is it. Now I'm going to chip away at all of it. Okay, I think I'm confirming that I kind of did this a little bit wrong because the mixture is a lot thicker at the bottom, getting it off, than it was at the top, but I'm seeing a hand. Oh my god. It's actually not terrible. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm not that angry at it. Oh no. Okay, I'm seeing where we went wrong a little bit. I feel like I'm doing one of those ASMR projects where they put the they take the pumice rock and they put the goo in it and you like pick it out. So it's almost good, except it's not. Obviously my hand was kind of not the right position and it looks like I'm trying to make shadow puppets, but I feel like there's salvageable things we can do with this. Right now I'm going between, do I want to break the fingers off and make little broken off digits, or do I want to stick with my plan? It's a complicated question. You can see where I probably hit the bottom where there was a pocket of air because this thing is still dirty, but if you can see on the fingers there, they've gone like flat. They don't have like the dimension to it, but that's okay, I think. Like, I kind of am not mad that it's not perfect position or anything. I'm thinking if I just cut it at the wrist here and I like color it and like decorate it just like in the movie, like you'll still get the idea of what it is, right? I don't know. Sorry, I completely lost track of talking about the First Omen. I think I said mostly what I wanted to. I think the director did a pretty good job with pretty limited opportunity and there was good acting. There's some gnarly parts, but if you like The Omen, check it out. So it definitely didn't end up exactly as I wanted it to, but I think the idea is there. I think if I did this again, I know if I did this again, what I would do differently is I would get a bigger cast, because what you need is your wrist to go in further. What you also need is to follow the directions. Shocker to all of us, I know. But I think the upside to this is it's not a total failure. I think the vision is there, and I think there's still something to be done with this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm proud of us. Is it what I wanted? No. But are we gonna make it into something cool? Yeah. I appreciate you guys tuning into this week. I'll be back next week with another video where, I don't know, maybe I'll put it up to a vote. Do you think I should decorate this as the talk to me hand, or do you think I should do something else with it? Break off the fingers and do something funky? Leave me a little note in the comments what you think, and maybe that'll sway my decision. My plan for next week is also to watch all of the Terrifier films, or all of the films with appearances by Art the Clown, which I'm not excited about, but I also am very excited about. I'm hearing good things about Terrifier 3, so I'm gonna try and catch that in its theatrical run. It's gonna be awful and super fun. If you guys wanna chat about little crafts or give me a craft to do next, because I'm always down for a new one, leave me a comment or hop into the Discord channel that I have. I'd love to chat with you about movies. I really appreciate you guys for watching this and spending your spooky month with me. If you have any movie recommendations, feel free to leave them. I always love to hear people's spooky recommendations. And I'll be really looking forward to seeing you again next week. Bye!